Hickok 45 here. Look what I have. You know what I'm doing? I'm celebrating 150 years of this rifle, the 1873 Winchester. Wow, we need as many celebrations as we can get this year. 150th anniversary of this cartridge, the 4440, better known at the time as the 44 Winchester centerfire. Okay, later to be dubbed the 4440, same thing. So it's what we're about today. We could not let 2023 expire without celebrating this baby, the gun that won the West. You know, we hear that about a lot of firearms. This one actually was marketed as that, and that's probably, it spills over to every other firearm we learn about from the West, doesn't it? But this one that was the big marketing piece for the 1873 Winchester. And hey, there may be some truth to it. Should we shoot it? Oh boy, let's take a couple of shots. This one is made in 1886. I hope you've seen the video on it. You better have. I'm going to hit the gong. Well, I thought I was. Yeah, there we go. Must have held up a little too much. How about this red 2-liter right in front of me? Boom. Yeah, this, I'm going to link to the video called Winchester 73 or 1873, model 1873 original. That's the title of the video. I'll link to it where we did this video, and I talked a lot about the history, what came before it, came after it, and all that kind of, and I'll talk a little bit about some of that today. Today I just want to celebrate and shoot this one, maybe the reproduction as well. Just shoot and enjoy it, and talk about it a little bit, okay? But I'll link to that video, plus our video called 1873, because that's the year so many big things happened. The 1873 Winchester, the trapdoor Springfield, the Colt single action army. Pretty big year, huh? Not to mention 3 cartridges. There may have been others, but the 45 Colt, the 4570, and as I just said, the 4440. Very, very big year. Can I take a couple more shots? I don't want to give you too much history. Oh, there's a cowboy. We need to shoot a cowboy with this thing, don't we? So we did. We put him out of his misery. Oh yeah. We got another one. Let's go over there and shoot at a buffalo. And we got one. I'll leave that round under the hammer, empty round. In fact, I've read Wyatt Earp. I read a biography or autobiography of Wyatt Earp years ago, and he was one of the few, buffalo hunters who actually used, I think in 1873, to hunt buffalo. And he didn't buy a bunch of expensive guns and hire a big crew. He'd go out with like one other fella or two, and they did all the work themselves, the shooting, the skinning, and all the stuff you have to do, and made a fair amount of money. He was a good businessman in that regard, but I think he's a 73, which we always think of the big cartridge, 4570 or something for that, don't we? So, yeah, no, I was joking about working on guns. I always say that, but I don't, I know my limitations in terms of working on firearms, especially a vintage firearm. I don't want to damage it. I don't work on triggers. I don't even replace parts unless I'm pretty sure what I'm doing. And so it's a big deal. So 1873, yeah, as most of you know, I think, well, not most of you maybe, but a lot of you, before the cartridges came along like this, well, of course, we loaded muzzle loaders, right? And then even the early cartridges were generally copper instead of brass, and they were rimfire. The Henry, 44 Henry, 44 American. There were cartridges before these, of course, but they were generally rimfire. And so this is the first Winchester centerfire cartridge, the 4440, made by Winchester for this gun. So they're kind of introduced at the same time. And these were chambered in 4440 all the way through to 1923, I guess, when that production ran for 50 years, right? Is that my math right? 1873 to 1923, they made this rifle. And it's been featured in movies, Winchester 73 with Jimmy Stewart. Many of you have seen that movie. and they're fighting for trying to win a one of 1,000. Winchester 1873 in that movie. Winchester would they test fired the barrels, and if one got an exceptionally good grouping, supposedly, it's just the way the story goes, then they would set that one aside and put a extra special stock on it maybe and do some engraving. That barrel would go into a really nice receiver in stock and everything, and they would sell that as a 1 in 1,000, and they would go for about $100, which was a lot of money back then, a lot of money. And then they do 1 of 100 as well, and those would sell for $20, I think, over the regular price. But anyway, Winchesters, they ruled the day, of course, back then. You had Marlins and others along the way. But in the 1870s, 1870s and 80s, and along in there, Marlin came in and took a lot of market share. There were some others I'm not as familiar with, but Winchester, you've got the market. It's like Xerox or Kleenex or Coke, whenever someone uses a specific brand name for just the generic, item. And that's what people would say. Well, I had a Winchester. Did he have his Winchester? Someone's writing a novel about somebody with a lever gun. They will use often, or in movies, the term Winchester interchangeably with lever gun. Instead of saying lever gun, they just say a Winchester. It might be a Marlin, because they really dominated. So this is the 1873. It's really nice. Now I've got some sad news for you. Alabama Holster is a great holster company. They make wonderful concealment holsters out of Kydex. I've got belt holsters and everything. They're just a great company, but they don't make one for the 1873. Okay, I've got to admit that. And they might be working on it. Maybe a Kydex scabbard. How would that be? Put this beautiful old gun in a Kydex scabbard. This is the one that was given to us. Follow the link and look at that video if you've not seen it. Okay. Because this was given to us by a viewer's son. His father died, and his son wanted us to have it because they both had watched the videos and everything. It was just one of those deals where we just couldn't say no, and they really, really wanted us to have it. And I talk about that in that video, and we just really appreciate it. It's I had never owned an original 1873. Of all the guns I have, all the nice firearms I own, and even originals, I've never had an 1873. This is the first one. Yeah, I was really, I've been negligent for a lot of years, right? So one of the viewers had to take care of that for me. Let's pop that ram over there if I can. Oh man, 1886. Yep, there were probably no 2 liters to shoot back then, or no pot to smoke. Yeah. But there's some now. Spray cans. Yeah, man. No orange 2 liters. Do I have another round? No. Okay. So yeah, 1873. There were, like I say, there was lever guns. You're familiar with the Henry. I didn't bring any of that out because we did all of that in that video I'm linking to. But, the Henry was before this, a lever gun. Benjamin Tyler Henry and Oliver Winchester, kind of responsible for that. And then before that, you had the Volcanic, which had these little rocket balls that would fire kind of like a mini ball, with powder in the back. And, so as always, there's a evolution, a progression up to what we end up with. Cartridges that are center fire, have a primer, a boxer prime, you can replace the primer and reload them. And so we got up to that point in the 1870s, right? And they were made in all lengths and configurations. I think a 20-inch barrel was kind of standard, 24, and then they made muskets for some militaries. They were not used by the military that much. They were during some European countries used some of them, even the 73. But in this country, they just weren't adopted very, what would you say, heavily at all. During the Civil War, the Henry rifle was used because it was available at that time, not in big numbers. But they just weren't used. They were difficult to shoot from a prone position. You got to shoot kind of a flat-nosed bullet in them. You can't use those really nice spiral point, bullets, that kind of thing. They're kind of fragile, for a military firearm be banged around, you know, and that kind of thing. And then also, one thing people don't think about a lot is, like, you think, wow, look at that, why weren't they using these in every army during the 1800s, you know, and even in the 1900s? What's this old bolt action, holds 5 rounds and that kind of thing? Well, yeah, like I say, it's difficult to shoot from the prone position, the lever, and the bullet. It's a pistol round, really, 44-40 and 45 Colt, and 38-40 and 32-20, I guess. It was chambered in later. They're pistol rounds, really, and so, you know, not that powerful, So that was a lot of it. But anyway, we're celebrating. You think I should shoot the replica? You know, I have a hard time without an extender on this thing. It seems to have a really short, you know, some of you have been around a while. Remember, I had the buffalo hide on this one, and it looked like someone had a nightmare or some really good drugs and created that style wrap I had on that thing. But I did it so that I could fill in the curve here, and then I had another rubber thing on it, all this stuff, and then I wrapped it up with buffalo skin. And it didn't look that bad, I didn't think. I used it in cowboy action shooting a lot, and I had it out about there. The length was great for me, and it was a lot of fun to shoot. Now, since I gave it to my buddy to refinish, you know, I just haven't put anything back on it, so it's not as much fun to shoot, to tell you the truth. So I get that remedied. Okay, can I shoot this a couple more times? What else did you want to know about it? Okay, the 1873, like I say, big year, this cartridge. And again, not just because it was a 44-40 and it was a 200 grain bullet or something like that. It was the fact that it was no longer a rimfire. It was, you know, centerfire cartridge, and, you know, and you had this nice gun. This was an improvement even over the 1866. You know, you had a steel frame or an iron frame, and the 66 was a big improvement over the Henry. But then this one took it to the next step with the centerfire cartridge, because the Henry and the 1866 fired the 44 rimfire. So this was just another big step up. It was kind of like, all right, we are finally there. We have an iron firearm that's stronger than brass, fires a centerfire cartridge, which is, you know, more reliable and even reloadable and all that kind of thing. So we arrived in 1873, and again, this is the model of 1873, but this particular specific firearm was made in when? You remember? Yep, 1886, because they were made all the way up through 1923. Okay, I remember those when they were made. Now this one is a model 1873. But it was, this specific gun was made sometime, I guess, in the 1990s, because it's a reproduction from Italy. All right. We shot the paper? No. Let's shoot that. All right. Let me shoot. I didn't mention Widener's. We appreciate Wideners.com, our new ammo sponsor. Boom. Wow. That proves the accuracy, doesn't it? Yeah, let's put another one in there. Yeah, you can check any description for the link and the discount code on the Widener's ammo. That reminds me of that movie 1873. I might have mentioned that in another video, how they, you know, in their shooting competition with one of these, they were driving nails. I thought, pretty funny. From a pretty good distance. I'm going to try that turkey up there. All right, man. What else would this be a surprise? If someone came back from the 1880s, would they be surprised to learn we're shooting with his rifle? A bowling pin? Did they have bowling pins back then? Oh yeah, how about orange 2 liters? Yeah, we got him. So yeah, and again, that's the neat thing about these old guns, isn't it? Yeah, they're fun. It's fun to celebrate an anniversary. As you know, I enjoy it. 150 is kind of a nice round number, and hard to believe. And these things are still selling, you know, in pretty big numbers. They're not cheap. I mean newer ones, reproductions, and of course these are around. You see them at gun shows. I go to Tulsa, and there are hundreds of them there, maybe originals. you know, various conditions. But the reproductions are out there in big numbers, and they're chambered in like 45 Colt, which this was really never chambered in. Okay, I know that's a little point of confusion for some people, but the rim wasn't as big on the cartridge, and there were the politics of it too. Maybe not wanting a Colt cartridge in their Winchester, I don't know. But anyway, they're out there, and a lot of people are buying them in 38 special and use them in cowboy action shooting, you know, in big numbers. So 150 years, it's been a good 150 years. Let me make sure it's empty. Let's fire the rest of them. Yeah, I'm not even gonna put my ears on. Yeah, I had one round left. It's not all that loud. Well, I appreciate y'all coming by and helping celebrate 150 years of these fine rifles. Again, not this one, but since this gun was invented, okay, 1873, and this is the rifle you should be seeing in so many of the Westerns movies. The old Westerns are really bad about having they have a lever gun, but it's usually an 1892 or an 1894 Winchester, most often, okay? And if the setting is 1880 or 1883 or 74 or whatever, most likely it would be one of these, you know. But yeah, I just a lot of the Westerns don't have them. Early Westerns, there were maybe no reproductions being made. I just don't know what the deal is with that. But anyway, really appreciate y'all coming out tonight and helping me celebrate. I'm going to stay out for a couple more hours shooting this thing, and I'll see you all later. Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com. And also, while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter, The Real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.